A contentious vote ends a months-long battle that divided Texas lawmakers.
At the end of the day, we have to work together because of whom we represent. We work for the people.
Dustin Burrows won the House Speaker vote, but the fallout from his victory may just be beginning.
So we stop criminals from killing other innocent people in our state.
Governor Abbott sending a message on opening day. The guideposts he laid out for senators as they start the session.
Everything about my work in the emergency room informs our work here.
New lawmakers bringing unique experiences and perspectives to the Capitol.
Mainly that my generation, we have to get involved in politics.
We speak to freshmen from opposite sides of the aisle, the insight they're bringing to the debate this session.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Josh Hinkle. Lubbock Republican Dustin Burrows is now Speaker of the Texas House. He won the contentious vote Tuesday after a months-long battle that divided Republicans.
Recent days have tested our bonds, yet they've also proven that this institution is greater than any one individual or any faction.
Burrows faced pressure from within his party to step out of the race after State Rep David Cook won the House Republican caucus nomination. That pressure included attack ads from his own party. And even more pressure just hours before the vote. Busloads of conservative Texans rolled into the Capitol wearing red shirts reading "Ban Democrat Chairs."
We the people see what he's doing, don't approve, and he needs to change his ways.
With the goal of getting Republicans to vote for David Cook.
It is his job.
This woman driving in from Frisco.
We are declaring today, we are going to make sure that this ain't a red state.
Despite the pressure, Burrows won the election after 2 rounds of voting. After the vote, Burrows had a message of unity.
I commit to you today, every member will have a voice.
He said all members need to work together to cut property taxes, fund public education, and water infrastructure in the upcoming session.
May God continue to bless the great state of Texas.
Burrows won the gavel, but the fallout from his victory may just be beginning. The Texas Republican Party threatened to censure members who did not support Cook. Capitol reporter Dylan McKim looks at the possible penalties and the potential legal battle ahead.
The Texas Republican Party wanted this guy, State Representative David Cook, to be sitting on that dais as the new Speaker of the House. That did not happen. Instead, State Representative Dustin Burrows won the seat. Just take a look at the vote count. 52 House Republicans voted for David Cook to be Speaker, while only 36 House Republicans voted for Burrows. But Burrows was able to get 49 votes from across the aisle. An unwanted scenario for the hundreds of Texas conservatives who showed up to the Capitol on the day of the vote to convince Republicans to stick with David Cook.
We want the right thing done. Texas is a red state, and we've had a blue Speaker of the House.
I believe we need to hold them accountable personally, and I also believe the party will do that.
Abraham George, the Texas Republican Party chair, says it's possible some of those 36 members who voted for Burrows will get censured by county Republican parties. If a member is censured, they could be penalized by the State Republican Executive Committee. Those penalties range in severity.
One, it could mean it's just a slap on the wrist and don't do it again. The worst thing that could happen is remove them from ballot. And tell them you cannot run as a Republican in the next cycle.
But can the Republican Party legally do that? The president of the Texas Republican County Chairmen's Association requested a law firm to evaluate its legality. He got this response, and he posted it online. The analysis ultimately says the Texas Election Code does not permit political parties to restrict ballot access, but that will not stop the party from fighting it in court if it comes to that.
We're going to keep our word. That means spending millions of dollars in court. We're going to do that.
Dylan joins us now. Talk to me about the Rule 44 in the Texas Republican Party rules. How does the censure process work?
Well, I spoke to the Texas Republican Party chair, Abraham George, and he describes the Republican Party here in Texas as really from bottom up. That's how it's organized. The grassroots to precinct chairs, the county chairs, They're really telling what the state executive committee and then, of course, the chair is ultimately going to do. So a lot of the censures come from the county chair positions, and then it works their way up through the organization. So basically, a member of the Republican Party is eligible for censure if they violate the Republican principles 3 times in a matter of 2 years. That's the standard, that's the rules and how they're laid out. And then that goes into a meeting. The county chair will call a meeting. They'll talk about it, they'll vote, and if they decide to pass a censure resolution, that will be sent up to the state executive committee, who will then decide what the penalty is for that member. And there are now 3 penalties according to Rule 44. One of those penalties is to discourage that member from not running in the next Republican primary. Another rule is that the Republican Party will use up to 12% of its general funding to basically primary you. So use that money to run attack ads, to really educate the voters on why this member was censured by the party, really to make them a least favorable candidate in the eyes of the voters. And the third penalty, the most severe penalty right now in the rules, is that the Republican Party chair of Texas can say, we're going to remove you from this ballot. You're not going to be able to run as a Republican in the primary. That is the biggest penalty, and it's of course caused a lot of questions as to, can the Republican Party do this?
So you found that a Texas law firm analyzed the legality of a political party removing a candidate from the ballot. Is there a precedent for this already?
There is a precedent. So basically, yes, this law firm kind of saw the writing on the wall, whether they were told to evaluate this or they did this on themselves to look at the case law. They basically are saying that, hey, according to this memo they sent out, the election code does not permit any Republican Party chair to prevent anyone from running on a certain party ballot, as long as that person files the correct paperwork with the state. And there really is case law. We go all the way back to 1958. The Texas Supreme Court actually heard a case where a county chair prevented a candidate from being on their party's ballot because they thought, well, they don't really hold up to our principles, and I don't think they're a good candidate. Well, in the opinion issued by the Texas Supreme Court, they said it's not really for you to decide whether or not someone is either Republican or Democrat enough. That's kind of why we have primaries. Your voters are going to decide in the primary whether or not they think that specific candidate is Republican or Democrat enough. So there is case law where this has failed. Now, if you talk to Abraham George, the Texas Republican Party chair, they're aware that this is going to be a legal battle, and they seem prepared to take on that legal battle. He even told me they're willing to spend millions of the party's money in the courts just to fight this. So, and we come to 2026, when we see the next primaries come up, we could start seeing a legal battle when it comes to whether or not the Republican Party can remove someone from the ballot.
All right, Dylan McKim, what a great first week of the session.
Yeah. Exciting, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. While the vote for Speaker played out in the House, Governor Abbott addressed lawmakers in the Texas Senate. The governor shared what he called guideposts for the upcoming session. One would change policies that he says currently allow murder suspects to be released on bail.
It is going to be up to us in the Senate and the House and me working with you to make sure we do something about that so we stop criminals from killing other innocent people in our state.
The governor said his second guidepost for lawmakers is improving opportunity for Texans. He told senators that passing voucher-like education savings accounts is key to achieving that goal.
I can testify for a fact to the urgent pleas of thousands of Texans to please use your voice and use your vote this session to expand the opportunity for every parent to choose the school that's best for their child.
The Senate speech may have been a preview of what the governor will add to his list of emergency items. He'll announce that list by early February. Lawmakers can immediately vote on bills related to those emergency items. Other items have to wait until after the first 60 days of the session. School choice will be just part of the debate over education this session. Up next, we'll look closer at some of the highest profile items that could affect the future of kids in Texas schools. You heard the governor list some of his priorities, but how do those line up with public opinion? We'll dig into new polling that gives insight into what Texans want.